Hello friends, welcome to Premier UPSC IAS. So this is the part 2 of last 10 years of previous year questions of environment for prelims examination. So let's start. Question number 1 from environmental pollution. Consider the following statements. Agricultural soils release nitrogen oxides into environment. Cattle release ammonia into environment. Poultry industry releases reactive nitrogen compounds into environment. Which of these statements given above is or are correct? So we have to select the correct options about these statements. Okay. Let's see one by one if those statements are true or not. Okay. Agricultural soils release nitrogen oxides into environment. Yes, it is true statement. Considering environment being a larger statement and larger scope. Okay. Cattle release ammonia into environment. Yes, it is also true. Poultry industry releases reactive nitrogen compounds into environment. This is also true. So answer is D, 1, 2, and 3. Nitrous oxide is emitted into the atmosphere as a result of biomass burning and biological processes in the soils. Biomass burning is not only an instantaneous source of nitrous oxide, but it results in a longer term enhancement of the biogenic production of this gas. The current belief is that 90% of the emissions come from soils. Nitrous oxide is formed in soils during the microbiological process, nitrification and denitrification. Because nitrous oxide is a gas, it can escape from soil during these transformations. Nitrous oxide production is controlled by temperature, pH, water holding capacity of the soil, irrigation practices, fertilizer rate, tillage practice, soil type, oxygen concentration, availability of carbon, vegetation, land use practices, and use of chemicals. Nitrous oxide emissions from agricultural soils are increased by the addition of fertilizer. Cattle release both ammonia and methane into the atmosphere. Ruminant animals do not efficiently utilize dietary nitrogen. Excess nitrogen fed into the form of feed proteins is excreted in manure, urine, plus feces. Dairy cows on average secrete in milk 25 to 35% of the nitrogen they consume, and almost all the remaining nitrogen is excreted in urine and feces, with about half of the nitrogen excreted in the urine. So that is some of the points relating to the cattle release of nitrogen. Okay. Nitrogen emissions in chicken production occur in several forms, but mainly ammonia can contribute directly or indirectly to several environmental and public health hazards. Chicken production also contributes to some extent to climate change through the emissions of nitrous oxide, fine particulate matters, and methane. Let's move on to another question. In the context of proposals to the use of hydrogen enriched CNG, that is compressed natural gas, as fuel for buses in public transport, consider the following statements. So, this is about the hydrogen enriched CNG in the buses as public transport. Here, it is asking the correct statement. Let's see. The main advantage of the use of hydrogen enriched CNG is the elimination of carbon monoxide emissions. Basically, it reduces, but elimination something saves extreme statement here. Okay, so hydrogen enriched compressed natural gas, that is CNGs, reduces the emission of carbon monoxide up to 70%, but does not eliminate it. Okay. So the main advantage of the use of HCNG is the elimination of carbon monoxide. This is a wrong statement. Hydrogen enriched CNG as fuel reduces carbon dioxide and hydrocarbon emissions. Reduces is such a balanced statement, and this statement is correct. Hydrogen up to 1/5 by volume can be blended with the CNG as fuel for buses. It is also true. Hydrogen enriched CNG makes the fuel less expensive than the CNG. No, this is a false statement. It actually increases the cost. So 2 and 3 are correct. So answer is B, 2 and 3 only. Hydrogen enriched CNG reduces the emission of carbon monoxide up to 70% but does not eliminate it. Hydrogen enriched CNG as a fuel reduces the emission of carbon dioxide and hydrocarbon as compared to other fuels. Compared with natural gas, Compared with natural gas, the hydrogen enriched CNG has many advantages when it comes to performance. Research has shown that the brake effective thermal efficiency increases with an increased percentage of hydrogen. Another effect of the addition of hydrogen is that the brake specific fuel consumption is reduced. The cycle by cycle variations are also reduced and the thermal efficiency is increased. Emissions can also be improved with the addition of hydrogen. Compared to pure natural gas, the hydrogen enriched CNG reduces the emissions of hydrocarbons, which is in part due to the increased combustion stability that comes with the addition of hydrogen. However, due to the increased temperature and combustion duration that accompanies the hydrogen addition, an increase in the nitrous oxide emissions is observed. Compressed natural gas is methane stored at high pressure. Compressed natural gas as a fuel can be used in place of gasoline, diesel fuel, and propane or LPG, and its combustion produces fewer undesirable gases than the other mentioned fuels. Combustion is a high temperature exothermic chemical reaction between a fuel and an oxidant that produces oxidized products. When 18 to 20% of the hydrogen as fuel is mixed into the CNG, it becomes pollution free as it reduces the emission of carbon monoxide up to 20%. Current cost of hydrogen is more than the cost of natural gas. Therefore, hydrogen enriched CNG's cost is more than the normal CNG. Current price of the hydrogen enriched CNG is higher than the CNG and will cost 72 paisa per kilometer more if implemented in DTC buses. So that is all the explanation about the question number 2. Moving forward, let's see about the question number 3. Which of the following statements are correct about the deposits of methane hydrate? Let's see the statements about methane hydrate. Global warming might trigger the release of methane gas from these deposits. Yes, it is a true statement. Large deposits of methane hydrate are found in Arctic tundra and under the seafloor. This is also true statement pertaining to methane hydrate. Methane in atmosphere oxidizes to carbon dioxide after a decade or two. Yes, this is also a true statement. So the answer is D, 1, 2, and 3. So answer is D, 1, 2, 3. All the statements are true. Let's see about methane hydrates. Scientists concerned that global warming may release huge stores of methane stores from reservoirs beneath the Arctic tundra and deposits of marine hydrates. A theory known as Clathrin gun hypothesis have turned to geologic history to search for evidence of significant methane release during the past warming events. Vast amounts of methane hydrate are buried in sediments on the continental shelves and slopes. Four different kinds of geological settings have the temperature and pressure conditions suitable for the formation and pressure conditions suitable for the formation and stability of methane hydrates. Sediment and sedimentary rock units below the Arctic permafrost, sedimentary deposits along the continental margins, deep water sediments of inland lakes and seas, and under the Antarctic ice. Methane in atmosphere oxidizes to carbon dioxide after a decade or two. So all the statements are true. Moving forward, question number 4. Consider the following: carbon monoxide, methane, ozone, and sulfur dioxide. Which of the above are released into atmosphere due to the burning of crop or biomass residue? So almost all of these are released basically. So answer should be D, 1, 2, 3, and 4. from the review paper emissions from the crop or biomass residue burning risk to atmospheric quality, it may be safely concluded that crop residue or biomass residue burning not only emits the poisonous gases such as sulfur dioxide, methane, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide or nitrous oxides, nitric oxide or nitrogen dioxide, but also other chemicals like organic chemicals and NMHCs, SVOCs, VOCs. All these are basically hydrocarbons, but also influences the quality of environment at large. So, four question answer is D1, 2, 3, and 4. In India, the use of carbofuran, methyl parathion, borate, and trisophos is viewed with the apprehension. These chemicals are used. Basically, these are the names of pesticides in agriculture. Let's see the answer basically. Yes. So the answer is A, pesticides in agriculture. In India, the use of carbofuran, methyl parathion, borate, and triazophos is viewed with apprehension. These chemicals are used as pesticides in agriculture. Moving forward, with grain, why is there a great concern about the microbeads that are released into environment? That is the question number 6. They are considered harmful to marine ecosystems. They are considered to cause skin cancer in children. They are small enough to be absorbed by the crop plants in irrigated fields. They are often found to be used as food adulterants. So it is a very direct question actually. Microbeads, bead are small plastic type of things in the ocean. So they are basically considered harmful to marine ecosystem. The hint is in the question itself. So answer is A. Microbeads are itty bitty plastic orbs that can be found in exfoliating facial scrubs, cosmetics, shower gels, and toothpaste, among other products. They are part of a larger class of microplastics or pieces of plastic less than 5 millimeters or 0.2-inch long. Microbeads that wash down drains cannot be filtered out by many wastewater treatment plants, meaning that tiny plastics slip easily into waterways. Fish and other marine animals often eat them, introducing potentially toxic substances into the food chain. Thus, they are harmful to the marine ecosystem. Going forward, which of the following is or are the possible consequences of heavy sand mining in the riverbeds? Decreased salinity in the river, pollution of the groundwater, lowering of the water table. So let's see one by one. Which of the following, if there is more sand removal, mining or sand taking out of sand in riverbeds, what happens? So there will be decrease in salinity in the river. It is true. Pollution of the groundwater. The sand from the riverbeds has no connection with the groundwater basically. So option 2 is wrong. And the lowering of the water table could be the correct option. So answer is B, 1 and 3 only. Sand mining and impact on environment. Sand mining is an activity referring to the process of the actual removal of sand from the foreshore, including rivers, streams, and lakes. Sand is mined from beaches and inland dunes and dredged from ocean beds and riverbeds. Excessive in-stream sand and gravel mining causes the degradation of rivers. In-stream mining lowers the stream bottom, which may lead to bank erosion. Depletion of the sand in the stream bed and along the coastal areas causes the deepening of the rivers and estuaries and the enlargement of river mouths and coastal inlets. It may also lead to saline water intrusion from the nearby sea. The effect of mining is compounded by the effect of sea level rise. Any volume of sand exported from stream beds and coastal areas is a loss to the system. It is also a threat to bridges, riverbanks, and nearby structures. Sand mining also affects the adjoining groundwater system and the uses of the local people that they make of the river. So it has an effect on the groundwater, but pollution is not the answer there. Okay. Sand mining transforms the riverbeds into large and deep pits. As a result, the groundwater table drops and becomes polluted. So groundwater table will be dropping. Therefore, the option 3 is correct. As a result, the groundwater table drops and becomes polluted, leaving the drinking water wells on the embankments of these rivers dry. Bed degradation from In-stream mining lowers the elevation of stream flow and the floodplain water table, which in turn can eliminate water table dependent woody vegetation in riparian areas and decrease the wetted periods in riparian wetlands. For locations close to the sea, saline water may intrude into the freshwater body. So this is all about the sand mining and its impact in the environment. Moving forward, biological oxygen demand BOD is a standard criterion for. It is basically a criterion to assess the pollution in the aquatic ecosystem. So that is almost a direct answer. Let's see what is BOD. Biological oxygen demand is an important water quality parameter which provides an index to assess the effect discharged wastewater will have on receiving environment, that is aquatic ecosystems. The higher the BOD value, the greater the amount of organic matter or food available for oxygen consuming bacteria. Basically, direct link with the bacteria present in the aquatic ecosystem. So, answer is C. Consider the following pairs commonly used or materials, unwanted controversial chemicals likely to be found in them. In lipstick, the unwanted controversial chemical is lead, soft drinks, brominated vegetable oils, Chinese fast food, monosodium glutamate. There is a hint here, drink and oil, that could itself be uh, easy understanding of the options given here. So yes, in lipstick there is high amount of chemical called as lead, that is right. Soft drinks, you may find some brominated chemicals but not the oils, because you never see oils in soft drinks, right? So option 2 is wrong. Chinese fast food, monosodium glutamate is being used, so answer is C, 1 and 3 only. Lead is a natural product. So lead is a natural byproduct occurring in cosmetics and food because it is absorbed from the earth and pollution into the raw materials used by both industries. Brominated vegetable oils are not used in soft drink manufacturing. Monosodium glutamate MSG is a flavor enhancer commonly added to Chinese food, canned vegetables, soups, and processed meats. The Food and Drug Administration (FDA) has classified MSG as a food ingredient that's generally recognized as safe, but its use remains controversial yet again. Moving forward, question number 10. In the cities of our country, which among the following atmospheric gases are normally considered in calculating the value of air quality index? Let's see. Carbon dioxide. No, for air quality index, carbon dioxide is not being measured. Carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, these three are used, and also not the methane. So answer is 2, 3, and 4 only B. Let's see. Air Quality Index. The Air Quality Index in India was developed by the IIT Kanpur. The index considers 8 pollutants: particulate matter 10, particulate matter 5, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and lead. Carbon dioxide and methane are not part of the Air Quality Index. Moving forward, question number 11. Fly ash. With reference to fly ash produced by the power plants using coal as fuel, which of the following statements is or are correct? Fly ash can be used in the production of bricks for building construction. It is true. It can be used for building construction. Nowadays, government is actually promoting the usage of fly ash by providing some schemes and incentives also. Fly ash can be used as a replacement for some of the Portland cement contents of the concrete. This is also true statement. Fly ash is made up of silicon dioxide and calcium oxide only and does not contain any toxic elements. It actually contains a toxic element. So answer question option 3 is uh, wrong. So 1 and 2 only. Answer is A. Let's see what's fly ash. Fly ash can be used in the production of bricks for building construction. Fly ash brick (FAB) is a building material, specifically masonry units, containing Class C or Class F fly ash and water. Owing to the high concentration of calcium oxide in Class C fly ash, the brick is described as self-cementing. Fly ash can be used as a replacement for some of the Portland cement contents of concrete owing to its pozzolanic properties. Fly ash has very small particles which makes the concrete highly dense and reduces the permeability of concrete. It can add greater strength to the building. The concrete mixture generates a very low heat of hydration, which prevents thermal cracking. Fly ash may contain, apart from silicon dioxide and calcium oxide, some toxic elements such as arsenic, lead, mercury, etc. Moving forward, question number 12. Brominated flame retardants are used in many household products like mattresses and upholstery. Why is there some concern about their use? They are highly resistant to degradation in the environment. They are able to accumulate in humans and animals. So, here select the correct answer using the code below. So almost both are true. Basically, they are resistant because they are resistant to degradation. Hence they are going to accumulate. So one and two are actually interconnected. So answer is both the statements are true. Brominated flame retardants (BFRs) are mixtures of man-made chemicals that are added to a wide variety of products, including for industrial use, to make them less flammable. They are used commonly in plastics, textiles, and electrical or electronic equipment. Some of the BFRs, such as hexabromocyclodecane (HBCD), persist and are highly resistant to degradation in the environment. These bioaccumulate in the environment, potentially having toxic effects on living organisms. As a result, some international regulatory bodies have banned the HBCD, which is commonly used in polystyrene foam insulation, that is mattresses and upholstery. So answer is both 1 and 2 are correct. Moving forward, which of the following adds or add carbon dioxide to the carbon cycle on the planet Earth? Volcanic action does add, respiration does add, photosynthesis, no, it actually consumes and adds the oxygen. Deco of the organic matter does add. So answer is 1, 2 and 4 only. C. Carbon dioxide. Basically, you can easily eliminate the option because photosynthesis takes the carbon dioxide and releases the oxygen. So that should be clear indication there. 14. Which of the following are some important pollutants released by steel industry in India? Oxides of sulfur, oxides of nitrogen, carbon monoxide, and carbon dioxide. It's indicative there. Almost all are released. So answer is D 1, 2, 3, and 4. In steel furnace, coke reacts with iron ore, releasing iron and generating carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide gases. Thus, due to use of coal, pollutants such as oxides of sulfur and oxides of nitrogen are also released. Acid rain is caused by the pollution of environment by which of the following given options? So, acid rain basically you should remember dioxides. Okay. So, one is sulfur dioxide, another is nitrous oxide. So, answer is D. Acid rain or acid deposition is a broad term that includes any form of precipitation with acidic components such as sulfuric or nitric acid caused by the pollution of environment by nitrous oxide and sulfur dioxide that fall to the ground from the atmosphere in wet or dry forms. This can include rain, snow, fog, hail, or even dust that is acidic. Moving forward, photochemical smog is a resultant of the reaction among. So continuing with the question, photochemical smog is a resultant of the reaction among. Let's see. The reaction among the carbon dioxide, oxygen, peroxide, acetyl nitrate in the presence of sunlight. Basically, presence of sunlight is very important because it is photochemical. So other two options can be eliminated like C and D. Within the A and B, nitrogen dioxide, ozone and peroxide, and carbon monoxide, oxygen, and peroxyacetyl nitrate. Answer is A. Nitrogen dioxide, ozone, and peroxyacetyl nitrate in the presence of sunlight. Photochemical smog, often referred to as summer smog, is the chemical reaction of sunlight, nitrogen oxides, and ozone and volatile organic compounds in the atmosphere, which leaves airborne particles and ground level ozone. Also, peroxyacetyl nitrate and is a peroxyacetyl is a secondary pollutant present in the photochemical smog. It is thermally unstable and decomposes into peroxyethanoyl radicals and nitrogen dioxide gas. The acidic nature of the smoke can also cause environmental damage. It is thermally unstable and decomposes into peroxyethanoyl radicals and nitrogen dioxide gas. The acidic nature of the smog can also cause environmental damage and structural decay in the dwellings. Moving forward, question number 17. Which of the following can be found as pollutants in the drinking water in some parts of India? Arsenic, sorbitol, fluoride, formaldehyde, uranium. It's highly likely to find different pollutants in the drinking water of India, but basically one has to observe that the question is being asked as uh, drinking water. It means it should be soluble. That is the hint here. So arsenic is found. Yes, sorbitol. It's not basically a big pollutant actually. So two is not the option. Three fluoride and five uranium. Formaldehyde is not found. So answer is 1, 3, and 5 only. Contaminant refers to any physical, chemical, biological, radiological substance or matter in water. Examples of physical contaminants are sediment or organic material suspended in the water of lakes, rivers, and streams from soil erosion. Examples of chemical contaminants include nitrogen, bleach, salts, pesticides, metals, toxins produced by bacteria, and human or animal drugs, arsenic, and fluoride. Examples of biological or microbial contaminants include viruses, bacteria, protozoa, and parasites. Examples of radiological contaminants include cesium, plutonium, and uranium. So, contaminant or pollutant is the question there. Okay, sorbitol is not a contaminant, and formaldehyde is actually antiseptic in nature. So, option by that also you can remove the option number 2 and 4. Moving forward, consider the following: carbon dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur. So, which of the above is or are the emission or emissions from coal combustion at thermal power plants? Carbon dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, and oxides of sulfur. The question is about coal combustion at thermal power plants. Oxides of nitrogen are not emitted from the coal, basically. So answer should be 1 and 3 only. C. Coal-fired thermal power plants are one of the main contributors for atmospheric pollution and greenhouse gases. Emissions that come from these plants could be categorized into three different categories: gaseous, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, which lead to the global warming and acid rain. Particulate emissions. The fine dust that is emanated from the stacks of power plants is a health hazard. Trace elements like mercury, cadmium, and lead, which are also health hazards. So, that is about coal combustion. Moving forward, lead ingested or inhaled is a health hazard. After the addition of lead to petrol has been banned, what still are the sources of lead poisoning? Smelting units, pens, pencils, paints, hair oils, and cosmetics. So option is B, 1 and 3 only, smelting units and paints. Lead is highly toxic metal and very strong poison. Lead is found in lead-based paints, including paint on the walls of old houses and toys. It is also found in art supplies, contaminated dust, gasoline products sold outside of the United States and Canada, smelting units, pens, pencils, lead pencils. So lead pencils are graphite pencils, though inks of some pens cause lead pollution, but it does not really pose a health hazard. So basically, the question is about lead poisoning sources, not the lead sources. Those sources which do poisoning as a health hazard. Hair oils and cosmetics. In cosmetics, there have been some concerns about lead acetate in lipsticks in US. However, there are varied options of the trace amount causing health hazards. So, option is smelting units and paints. Lead presence could be four options, but lead poisoning is smelting units and paints. Consider the following statements. Fluorocarbons known as ozone depleting substances are used. Basically, as uh, it is used in chlorofluorocarbons. The question is about chlorofluorocarbons. It is used in cleaning certain electronic components. Chlorofluorocarbons are non-toxic, non-flammable chemicals containing atoms of carbon, chlorine, and fluorine. They are used in the manufacture of aerosol sprays, blowing agents for foams, packing materials as solvents, as refrigerants, degreasing agents, and cleaning agents for electronic components. So answer is 3. Moving forward, 1, 3, and 4. Options are given. Tubeless tires, no such is not an option. So 1, 3, and 4. Question number 22, 21. The increasing amount of carbon dioxide in the air is slowly raising the temperature of the atmosphere because the it absorbs the water vapor of the air and retains its heat. The UV part of the solar radiation, all the solar radiations, the infrared part of the solar radiation. So answer is D, the infrared. The increasing amount of carbon dioxide in the air is slowly raising the temperature of the atmosphere because it absorbs the infrared part of the solar radiation. Among the greenhouse gases, only water vapor has the ability to absorb the both incoming UV and the outgoing infrared. But here, carbon dioxide basically absorbs the infrared part of the solar radiation only. Question number 22. Due to improper or indiscriminate disposal of the old and used computers or their parts, which of the following are released into the environment as e-waste? So e-waste is always a very important question. Let's see: beryllium, cadmium, chromium, heptachlor, mercury, lead, and plutonium. So heptachlor, you can see, that itself is like could be any organophosphate or something like that, but not it can't be seen in the IT industry or electronic industry. So answer should be anything but three, one, anything but four. So answer is B, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So heptachlor is a synthetic chemical that was used in the past for killing insects in homes, buildings, and on food crops. So basically, it was a pesticide. Plutonium is a radioactive waste. So radioactive in the e-waste, it's very highly unlikely. So anything but 4 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 is the answer. There is a concern over the increase in harmful algal blooms in the sea waters of India. What could be the causative factors for this phenomenon? Discharge of nutrients from the estuaries. There is a concern over the increase in the harmful blooms, harmful algal blooms. Causative factors of algal blooms is the question. Discharge of nutrients from the estuaries, runoff from the land during the monsoon, upwelling in the seams. Discharge of nutrients is the primary reason. Runoff from the land during monsoon. Okay. It is also one of the causative factor, and upwelling in the sea is also one of the causative factors. So 23 is D. Algal blooms. There are two major causes for algal blooms. These are high temperatures attributed to global warming and nutrients runoff. Blooming algae are a result of excess of nutrients, predominantly phosphorus and nitrogen, in the waters. This includes discharge of nutrients from the estuaries, runoff from the land during the monsoon, and upwelling in the seas. All the three options are correct. Human activities in the recent past have caused the increased concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but a lot of it does not remain in the lower atmosphere because. So basically, it's about the atmosphere, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. But why does this carbon dioxide does not remain in the lower atmosphere? That's the question asked here. Okay, so let's see. It escaped into the outer stratosphere. That is such a wrong statement. It can't directly escape without addressing the lower atmosphere. So one is wrong. The photosynthesis by the phytoplankton in the oceans. So basically, that is the important reason. Okay, from the photosynthesis of the phytoplankton, the carbon dioxide is basically taken from the lower atmosphere. The trapping of air in the polar ice caps. So that air trapped is the reason why there is low. It does not remain in the lower atmosphere. So answer is C, 2 and 3 only. Human activities in the recent past have caused the increased concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but a lot of it does not remain in the lower atmosphere because the photosynthesis by the phytoplankton in the oceans involves use of carbon dioxide and release of oxygen. Unlike carbon dioxide and other gases, calcium carbonate is not able to move freely and so remains in the sea ice and polar ice caps. During the warmer summer, when the sea ice melts, the calcium carbonate reacts with the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and is dissolved. So, in this way, carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere. So, both the answers. Recently, oil zapper was in news. What is it? Oil zapper. Let's try to remove from the options itself. Okay. It is an eco-friendly technology for the remediation of oily sludge and oil spills. It is the latest technology developed from undersea oil exploration. It is a genetically engineered high biofuel yielding maize variety. It is the latest technology to control the accidentally caused flames from the oil well. So from the options, you can directly eliminate the option number C. Okay. But the actual answer is A. That is, it is an eco-friendly technology for the remediation of oil sludge and oil spills. It is an eco-friendly technology for the remediation of oily sludge and oily spills using bacteria. There are five different bacterial strains that are immobilized and mixed with a carrier material such as powdered corn cob. This mixture of five bacteria is called as oil zapper. Oil zapper feeds on hydrocarbon compounds present in crude oil and the hazardous hydrocarbon waste generated by the oil refineries, known as oil sludge, and converts them into harmless carbon dioxide and water. Moving forward, question number 26. Oxides of hydrogen, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur. Which of the above causes the acid rain? So answer is easy 1, 2, and 3. All the statements are correct. The acid rain is the result of reaction of oxides of hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. Some of the air pollutants, especially nitrogen oxides and sulfur dioxide, react with the tiny droplets of water in clouds to form sulfuric and nitric acids. The rain from these clouds then falls as very weak acid, which is why it is called as acid rain. Question number 27. Excessive release of pollutant carbon monoxide into the air may produce a condition in which oxygen supply in the human body decrease. What causes this condition? When inhaled into the human body, carbon monoxide is converted into carbon dioxide. That is option A. The inhaled carbon monoxide has much higher affinity for hemoglobin as compared to the oxygen. So that is basically the answer. There is a curve also, okay? Oxygen affinity curve or carbon dioxide in compared to carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide of the hemoglobin. So answer is B. Excessive release of the pollutant carbon monoxide into the air may produce a condition in which oxygen supply in the human body decrease. This is because the inhaled carbon monoxide has much higher affinity for hemoglobin as compared to oxygen. It displaces oxygen and quickly binds, so very little oxygen is transported through the body cells. Hydrogen fuel cell vehicles produce one of the following as exhaust. So basically, it's about the hydrogen fuel cell. So the result is water. The energy is created in the fuel cell by reacting the hydrogen in the tanks with oxygen from the air over what is called as proton exchange membrane, and the end result is electricity and water. No other toxic gas is produced. So that is the answer for 28th question. Moving forward, let's see the questions of the climate change from previous 10 years. In the context of mitigating the impending global warming due to anthropogenic emission of carbon dioxide, which of the following can be the potential sites for carbon sequestration? 1. Abandoned and uneconomic coal seams, depleted oil and gas reservoirs, subterranean deep saline formations. So basically the question is about the carbon sequestration. Okay. So answer is yes. Even the abandoned and uneconomic coal seams can sequestrate the carbon. Depleted oil and gas reservoirs also. Geological storage of carbon dioxide can be undertaken in a variety of geological settings in sedimentary basins. These include depleted oil and gas reservoirs, deep unminable coal seams, enhanced coal bed methane ECBM recovery, oceans, deep unused saline water saturated formations. Other geological media are basalts, shales, and cavities, subterranean deep saline formations. So answer is D 1, 2, and 3. Question number 2. The formation of ozone hole in the Antarctic region has been a cause of concern. What could be the reason for the formation of this hole in the Antarctic region? Presence of prominent tropospheric turbulence and inflow of fluorocarbons, presence of prominent polar front and stratospheric clouds and inflow of the chlorofluorocarbons, absence of polar fronts and stratospheric clouds and inflow of methane and chlorofluorocarbons. The answer is B basically. The severe depletion of the Antarctic ozone layer, known as the ozone hole, occurs because of the special atmospheric and chemical conditions that exist there. The very low winter temperatures in the Antarctic stratosphere cause the polar stratospheric clouds PSCs to form. These high altitude clouds form only at very low temperatures. Help destroy ozone in two ways. They provide a surface which converts benign forms of chlorine into reactive ozone destroying forms, and they remove nitrogen compounds and that moderate the destructive impact of chlorine. The ozone hole is caused by chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons. Moving forward, environmental governance. Let's see the questions here. Consider the following statement. Under the Ramsar Convention, it is mandatory on the part of the government of India to protect and conserve all the wetlands in the territory of India. So basically, he is asking about the Ramsar Convention and if it is mandatory or not. Conserve all the wetlands in the territory of India, not but all the those which are enlisted basically. The Wetlands Conservation and Management Rules 2010 were framed by the Government of India based on the recommendations of the Ramsar Convention. The Wetlands Conservation Management Rules 2010 also encompass the drainage area or catchment regions of the wetlands as determined by the authority. Which of the following statements given above are correct? Basically, let's see one by one. The option is all here, so that is wrong. The wetland rules were framed by the Government of India based on recommendations. Ramsar Convention doesn't give a recommendation basically. Also encompasses the drainage area or cup. Yes, answer is C3 only. When a country joins the Ramsar Convention, it gets itself listed into the international effort for the conservation and wise use of wetlands. Once a country has joined, there are commitments which it has to fulfill as obligations. It has to designate at least one of its wetlands into the list of wetlands of international importance called Ramsar list. Once that is done, it can later designate much more wetlands. The above designation has to be based upon criteria that take into account ecology, botany, zoology, limnology, that is freshwater science, or hydrology. Thus, not every wetland becomes a Ramsar site. The Wetlands Rules 2010 also encompasses the drainage area or catchment regions of the wetlands as determined by the authority. So answer is C, 3 only. In the context of which of the following do some scientists suggest the use of cirrus cloud thinning technique and the induction of sulfate aerosol into stratosphere, creating artificial rains? Basically, most commonly it is used for such type of procedures are used for creating rains. Let's see the options here. Reducing the frequency and intensity of tropical cyclones, reducing the adverse effects of solar wind on the earth, reducing the global warming, thinning of the cirrus cloud thinning technique and the induction of sulfate aerosol, basically to reduce the global warming. Cirrus clouds do not reflect a lot of solar radiation back into space, but because they form at high altitudes and cold temperatures, they trap long wave radiation and have a climate impact similar to greenhouse gases. Thus, thinning cirrus clouds would reduce the absorption of infrared radiation and proposed form of climate engineering to reduce the global warming. Another proposed geoengineering technique involves injecting reflective sulfate aerosols particles into the Earth's lower stratosphere to cast a small proportion of the inbound sunlight back into space and cool the planet off. Thus, both are climate engineering or geoengineering techniques to reduce the global warming. Consider the following statements. As per the law, compensatory afforestation fund management and planning authority exists at both national and state levels. Afforestation fund management and planning authority. People's participation is mandatory in the compensatory afforestation programs carried out under the Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act 2016. So, mandatory is such an extreme statement. People's participation can't be made mandatory. So, option 2 is wrong. So, answer is 1 only. As per the law, compensatory afforestation fund is present both at the national and the state levels. As per the recent amendment to the Indian Forest Act 1927, forest dwellers have the right to sell the bamboos grown on forest areas. Okay, seems appropriately right statement. As per the Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006, bamboo is a minor forest produce. MSP, yes, bamboo. Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006 allows ownership of minor forest produce to forest dwellers. So, yes, all the three options are correct. Consider the following statements. The Environment Protection Act 1986 empowers the Government of India to state the requirement of public participation in the process of environmental protection and the procedure and manner in which it sought, lay down the standards for emission or discharge of environmental pollutants from various sources. Question is about EPA Act. State the requirement of public participation in the process of environmental protection and the procedure and manner in which it is sought. EPA doesn't guide this option. The Act empowers the central government to take all appropriate measures to prevent and control the pollution and to establish effective machinery for the purpose of protecting. But public participation is not being the part of it. Government has to do. The Act empowers the center to take all such measures to as it deems necessary. By virtue of the Act, central government has armed itself with considerable powers, which include coordination of action by state, planning and execution of nationwide programs, laying down environmental quality standards, especially those governing emissions or discharge of environmental pollutions, placing restrictions on the location of industries and so on. So answer is B, two only. Moving forward, extended producer responsibility was introduced as an important feature in which of the following: biomedical waste, the recycled plastic, or the e-waste rules. Basically, it was introduced for the e-waste. Question number 7. The Partnership for Action on Green Economy page, a UN mechanism to assist countries transition towards greener and more inclusive economies, emerged at. Page basically emerged at United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development 2012, Rio de Janeiro. Okay. Question number 8. The answer is B here. For question number 7, consider the following statements. The definition of critical wildlife habitat is incorporated in the Forest Rights Act 2006. For the first time in India, Paikas have been given habitat rights. Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change officially decides and declares habitat rights for primitive and vulnerable tribal groups. No, this is not done by uh, MOFC. Okay. So 1 and 2 only. Answer is A. Question number 9. Consider the following statements. Question number 9. Consider the following: birds, dust blowing, rain, wind blowing. Which of the above spread the plant diseases? So, rain. Spreading the plant diseases by rain is something unlikely. So, answer is 1, 2, and 4 only. And so is the case with dust blowing also. So, mostly birds and wind blowing. Mm, rain can have more impact on plant diseases compared to wind blowing. So best option should be 1 and 3 only. Most disease causing viruses are carried and transmitted naturally by insects and mites, which are called vectors of the viruses. With reference to organic farming in India, consider the following statements. The National Program for Organic Production (NPOP) is operated under the guidelines and directions of the Union Ministry of Rural Development. Organic production, rural development ministries are a lot of the times confusing, and there could be a trap there. Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority (APEDA) functions as the secretariat for the implementation of National Program for Organic Production. Sikkim has become India's first fully organic state. So answer is B, 2 and 3 only. First statement is wrong. Ministry of Commerce has implemented the National Program for Organic Production. How is the National Green Tribunal (NGT) different from the Central Pollution Control Board? The NGT has been established by an act, whereas the CPCB has been created by an executive order of the government. No, that is a wrong statement. The NGT provides environmental justice and helps reduce the burden of litigation in the higher courts, whereas the CPCB promotes the cleanliness of streams and wells and aims to improve the quality of air in the country. 2 is the right statement. NGT has been established under the National Green Tribunal Act, while the Central Pollution Control Board is a statutory organization under the Ministry of Environment. So, one statement is wrong. Which of the following statement best describes the carbon fertilization? Carbon fertilizer. The term itself is very much self-explanatory. Carbon fertilizer. Increased plant growth due to increased concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is called as carbon fertilization. Moving forward, with reference to Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture, which of the following statements is correct? GACSA is an outcome of the climate summit held in Paris 2015. No. Membership of GACSA does not create any binding obligations. Yeah, it is not binding. India was instrumental in the creation of GACSA. No. Option is 2 only. B. The Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture (GACSA) was launched on 23rd September 2014 at the UN Climate Summit, not the Paris. GACSA is inclusive, voluntary, and action-oriented multi-stakeholder platform alliance of partners with no binding obligations. Yes, GACSA works towards three aspirational outcomes: to improve the farmers' agricultural productivity and incomes in a sustainable way, build the farmers' resilience to extreme weather and changing climate, reduce the greenhouse gas emissions associated with agriculture when possible. India has not been instrumental in the creation of GACSA. In India, if a species of tortoise is declared protected under the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act, what does it imply? So what does the meaning of Schedule 1 is been asked here? It enjoys the same level of protection as the tiger. Yes, tiger is also having Schedule 1. So answer is A. With reference to Global Climate Change Alliance, which of the following statements is or are correct? It is an initiative of the European Union. It provides technical and financial support to targeted developing countries to integrate climate change into their development policies and budgets. It is coordinated by World Resources Institute and World Business Council for Sustainable Development. So answer is 1 and 2 only. So statement 3 is wrong. According to the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which of the following animals cannot be hunted by any person except under some provisions provided by law? So basically the question is being asked about animal listed in Schedule 1 and Part 2 of the Schedule 2. Okay. So answer is all the three: gharial, Indian wild ass, and wild buffalo, because all the three are endangered. Question number 17. Consider the following statements. Climate and Clean Air Coalition to reduce short-lived climate pollutants is a unique initiative of G20 group of countries. The CCAC focuses on methane, black carbon, and hydrofluorocarbons. 17 is only second statement is true. Basically, CCAC is launched by UNEP and six other countries, but not G20. So statement 1 is wrong. Consider the following statements in respect of trade-related analysis of fauna and flora in commerce. Traffic. Okay. Traffic is a bureau under the United Nations Environment Program. Option number 1. Mission of traffic is to ensure that trade in wild plants and animals is not threat to the conservation of nature. Basically, for the conservation of nature, UNEP doesn't come. International UNC should be there. So option 1 is wrong there. IUCN. So answer is B, 2 only. The term N stripes is sometimes seen in the news in the context of maintenance of the tiger reserves. Okay, so option is 19 is B. Moving forward, on which of the following can you find the Bureau of Energy Efficiency star label? The energy efficiency star label can be seen on all the three ceiling fans, electric geysers, tubular fluorescent lamps. Moving forward, consider the following statements. The International Solar Alliance was launched at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in 2015. International Solar Alliance was launched at what event is the question here. Yes, during the United Nations Climate Change Conference. The alliance includes all the member countries of the United Nations. No, it does not include all. So, and statement 2 is wrong. So, answer is 21A. Consider the following statement. The Sustainable Development Goals were first proposed in 1972 by a global think tank called the Club of Rome. No, such a wrong statement. The SDG goals have to be achieved in 2030. Yes, that's true. So, option is B, 2 only. What is or are the importances of the United Nations Convention on Combat of the Desertification? Basically, the importance of the combating desertification is being asked as a question here. Okay. It aims to promote the effective action through innovative national programs and supportive international partnerships. Yes. It has a special particular focus on South Asia and North Africa regions, and its secretariat facilitates the allocation of major portion of the financial resources to these regions. No, it doesn't do that. So option 2 is wrong. It is committed to bottom-up approach, encouraging the participation of local people in combating desertification. Yes. Answer is C, 1 and 3 only. Basically, the implementation is of the 5 regions: Africa and Asia, Latin America and Caribbean, Northern Mediterranean, Central and Eastern Europe. But here in the second option, it is given South Asia and North African region. So that is wrong statement. With reference to the agreement at the UNFCCC meeting in Paris in 2015, which of the following statement is or are correct? The agreement was signed by all the member countries of the UN and it will go into effect in 2017. All is such an exaggeration basically. The agreement aims to limit the greenhouse gas emissions so that the rise in average global temperature by the end of the century does not exceed 2 degrees. It's 1.5 centigrade or even 5 degrees. Such a wrong statement. 2 is wrong basically. So option is A, 1 and 3 only. Going forward, with reference to Agenda 21, sometimes seen in the news, consider the following statement. It is a global action plan for sustainable development. Yes. It originated in the World Summit on Sustainable Development held in Johannesburg in 2002. No, it was initiated at the Earth Summit basically. So, one only. A. 26. What is greenhouse gas protocol? Basically, the definition is being asked. It is an international accounting tool for government and business leaders to understand, quantify, and manage greenhouse gas emissions. Yes, option is A. The term intended nationally determined contribution is sometimes seen in the news in the context of plan of nation outlined by the countries of the world to combat the climate changes, or yes, option number B is correct statement. Which of the following statements is or are correct? Proper design and effective implementation of the UN Red Plus program can significantly contribute to all the above, like protection of biodiversity, resilience of forest ecosystems, and poverty reduction. With reference to the initiative called as the Economics of Ecosystems and Biodiversity, TEEB, which of the following statements is or are correct? 29. It is initiative hosted by the UNEP, IMF, and World Economic Forum. No, basically it was initiative, global initiative by UNEP and other department like Division of Technology, Industry, and Economics, but not this IMF and Economic Forum, World Economic Forum, WEF. So one is eliminated. So next, the options are: it is global initiative that focuses on drawing attention to the economic benefits of biodiversity. Yes, it prevents an approach that can help decision makers recognize, demonstrate, and capture the value of ecosystems and biodiversity. Yes, 2 and 3 only. Which of the following best describe the aim of Green India mission of the Government of India? Incorporating environment benefits and costs into the union and state budgets, thereby implementing the green accounting. Green India mission, green accounting doesn't match here. Launching the second green revolution, no. Restoring and enhancing forest cover and responding to climate change by a combination of adaptation and mitigation measures is the answer. That is Green India mission. Answer is C3 only. Annex 1 countries certified emissions reductions clean development mechanism. Only clean development mechanism Kyoto Protocol is correctly matched. Annex 1 is basically by OECD and certified emission reductions. The correct match should be the Kyoto Protocol and clean energy is Kyoto Protocol. So answer is 3 only. Moving forward, the FAO accords the status of globally important agricultural heritage systems to traditional agricultural systems. What is the overall goal of this initiative, basically? So the basic goal is being asked here, okay? So to provide modern technology training in modern farming methods and financial support to local communities and identify. Basically, heritage system doesn't do all these things. Basically, it's for awareness only. So one option is wrong. To identify and safeguard the eco-friendly traditional farm practices and their associated landscapes. Yes, that is indeed true. So option number 2 is correct. To provide geographical indication, no, geographical indication is not done here. So answer is 2 only, B. Moving forward, which of the following are the key features of National Ganga River Basin Authority? River basin is a unit of planning and management. Yes. It spearheads the river conservation effort at the national level. Yes. One of the chief ministers of the state through which the Ganga flows becomes the chairman of NGRBA on rotation basis. No, basically it is not having the rotation basis. Okay. Moving forward, with reference to the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources (IUCN) and the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, which of the following statements is or are correct? IUCN is an organ of the United Nations and cites an international agreement between governments. No, that is a wrong statement. IUCN is not an organ of the UN and cites is an international agreement between governments. So one is wrong. First, IUCN runs through thousands of field projects around the world to better manage natural environments. Yes, CITES is legally binding on states that have joined it, but this convention does not take the place of national laws. Yes, so answer is B, 2 and 3 only. Which of the following is associated with the issue of control and phasing out of the use of ozone depleting substances? So ozone depleting substances, which convention is will be discussing. That is Montreal Protocol. B. What is Rio plus 20? Often mentioned in the news. Rio plus 20 is basically a Rio conference after 1992 and after 20 years, 2012. So Rio plus 20 is it is the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development. Which of the following statements regarding Green Climate Fund is correct? So Green Climate Fund, it is intended to assist the developing countries in adaptation and mitigation practices to counter climate change. Yes. It is founded under the aegis of UNEP. So basically, the Clean Climate Fund is within the framework of UNFCCC, but not all these. So statement 2 is wrong. So answer is 37 is A1 only. Biocarbon Fund Initiative for Sustainable Forest Landscape is managed by. It is basically managed by World Bank. Biocarbon Fund Initiative for Sustainable Forest Landscape. With reference to Forest Carbon Partnership Facility, which of the following statements is or are correct? So, such a forest carbon partnership is being asked here. So, it is a global partnership of governments. Yes, it provides financial aid, forest partnership facility, aid to universities, individuals, scientist institutions involved in scientific forestry research to develop eco-friendly and climate adaptation technologies for sustainable forest management. No, it's basically about carbon. It assists in the countries in their RED plus deforestation and forest degradation. Yes, yes. So answer is A and C. 1 and 3 only C. With reference to an organization known as BirdLife International, which of the following statements is or are correct? It is a global partnership of conservation organizations. Yes. The concept of biodiversity hotspots originated. No. So eliminate two. Answer is C, 1 and 3 only. It identifies the sites known as referred to as important bird and biodiversity areas. Yes. 40 is C. Which one of the following best describes the main objective of the seed village concept? The seed village concept, almost the word itself is defining involving the farmers for training in quality seed production and thereby to make available quality seeds to others at appropriate time and affordable cost. So option is B. The term INDARC, sometimes seen in the news, is the name of India's underwater observatory to scientifically study the Arctic region. Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee is constituted under. The GEAC is basically constituted under Environment Protection Act 1986C. With reference to Bombay Natural History Society, consider the following statement. It is an autonomous organization under the ministry. No, it is basically an NGO. So one is wrong. One, so you can eliminate easily. It strives to conserve nature through action-based research. Yes, two is correct. It organizes and conducts natural nature trials and camps for the general public. Yes, 2 and 3. C is correct. Consider the following international agreements. The International Treaty on Plants, Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture. Okay. United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. The World Heritage Convention. Which of the above has or have a bearing on the biodiversity? Almost all. So D, 1, 2, and 3. Question number 46. Consider the following statements. Animal Welfare Board of India is established under the EPA Act. No, animal welfare should be under the wildlife protection. So statement 1 is wrong. National Tiger Conservation Authority is a statutory body. Yes. National Ganga River Basin Authority is chaired by the Prime Minister. Yes, 2 and 3 statement is correct. So answer is B. With reference to Global Environment Facility, which of the following statements is or are correct? It serves as financial mechanism for Convention on Biological Diversity and United Nations Framework. Yes. It undertakes scientific research. No, only financial. It is an agency under OECD. No. So answer is 47A. Consider the following statement regarding Earth R. Basically, Earth R is a question here. So it is an initiative of UNEP and UNESCO. Is been asked here. No, Earth R is actually an initiative of Worldwide Fund for Nature. Okay, so you can eliminate the first option. Answer remains C, 2 and 3 only. If a wetland of international importance is brought under the Montreal's record, what does it imply? Question number 49. So it implies that changes in the ecological character have occurred, are occurring, or are likely to occur in the wetland as a result of human interference. Okay, so answer is A. With reference to conservation organization called Wetlands International, which of the following statements is or are correct? It is an intergovernmental organization formed by the countries which are signatories to Ramsar Convention. No. International Wetlands Convention and Ramsar are different. So option 1 is wrong. So It works at the field level to develop a mobilized ES 50. Answer is B, 2 only. Under the Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006, who shall be the authority to initiate the process for determining the nature and extent of individual or community forest rights, or both? The authority lies with Gram Sabha. 51 is D. How does National Biodiversity Authority (NBA) help in protecting the Indian agriculture? So, how does the National Biodiversity Authority helps in conserving the agriculture? Okay, NBA checks the biopiracy and protects the indigenous and traditional genetic resources. Yes. NBA directly monitors and supervises the scientific research on genetic modification of croplands. No. So, two is removed. Application for intellectual property rights related to genetic biological resources cannot be made without the approval of National Biodiversity Authority. So, answer is 1 and 3 only. If National Water Mission is properly and completely implemented, how will it impact the country? So basically, it's asking the ideal situation. The water requirements of coastal cities with inadequate alternative sources of water will be met by adopting appropriate technologies that allow for the use of ocean water. So answer 53 is 2. That is B. Part of the water needs of the areas will be met through recycling of water. So 1 and 2 statements are true. All the rivers of the Himalayan, such a wrong statement. So 3 is removed. The expenses incurred by farmers for digging bore wells and for installing motors and pumps sets to draw groundwater will be completely reimbursed by the government. That is also exchange statement. So 53 answer is B, 1 and 2 only. The Millennium Ecosystem Assessment describes the following major categories of ecosystem services provisioning, supporting, regulating, preserving, and culture. Which of the following is supportive service? Okay. So supportive service is control of climate and disease. Regarding carbon credits, which of one of the following statement is not correct? Carbon credit. Okay. So the carbon credits are traded at a price fixed from time to time by UNEP. That is a wrong statement. Okay. Are traded on exchange, so their prices are never fixed, but not the UNEP. So 55 question answer is D. 56. The red data books published by the International Union for Conservation of Nature and the Natural Resources contain the list of it contains the list of endemic plants and okay, multiple choice. Animal species present in the biodiversity hotspot? No. Threatened plant and animal species? Yes. Protected sites? No. So answer is 2 only. B, 2 only. With reference to India, consider the following statement. Import Export Control Act 1947, Mining and Mineral Development Regulation Act 1957, Customs Act 1962, Indian Forest Act 1927. Which of the above acts have relevance to bearing on the biodiversity conservation in the country? So biodiversity conservation is being seen with all 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 57 is C. 58. India is a party to Ramsar Convention and has declared many areas as Ramsar sites. Which of the following statements best describes as to how we should maintain these sites? Conserve all the sites through ecosystem approach and allow their simultaneous sustainable use. So 58 question answer is D. Sustainable development is described as the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In this perspective, inherently, the concept of sustainable development is intertwined with which of the following concepts? So basically, it is intertwined with concepts of carrying capacity. Momentum for Change, Climate Neutral Now is an initiative launched by the UNFCCC Secretariat. So answer is C. Thank you.